Hey guys, welcome to the inaugural edition of Bedtime Stories with Codename Sailor Earth. That's me. And today's first story will be Meet Sailor Moon. Now, for those of you who missed this book, maybe you don't know, maybe you haven't heard, this is not the same Meet Sailor Moon book that was released by Tokyopop back in the early 2000s. This is an entirely different book. What's really neat about it is that this book is part of a two-book series. The second book will be in the next video. It was created specifically by Toei Animation to help introduce Sailor Moon to the American audience. Originally, these books were sold in Toys R Us, and then they got re-released in Japan, and then they got another release in America on a nationwide basis. They didn't seem to stay in stores very long, so it's really neat that I have both of them. I got mine used, so unfortunately you're going to see some pencil marks, but I don't think it's really going to mess with the art any. And there is plenty of art. Most of the artwork you'll notice are like photoshopped pictures from the TV show. But there is a little bit of artwork that I think was created specifically for our market. I do have to double check on that. It's more so in the second book, but anyway, let's get started. Oh, right, before we go any further, I just want to point one thing out. When this book initially came out, there was a company called DiC that was originally dubbing the Sailor Moon anime from Japanese into English, and they edited this show to shreds. Couple of episodes got cut completely from broadcast. Episodes 45 and 46 were spliced together, and they changed an awful lot of names. So, as the names pop up in the book, I'm going to tell you what they are supposed to be. Now, in the Japanese version, which you can watch on Hulu right now, and on the new DVDs by Viz Media, everybody has their correct names, and this is no longer a problem. But in case you guys missed the original DiC dub, let me just start off by saying, in Japanese, this is Usagi. In DiC dub, she was Serena. Ami, in Japanese, was Amy in the DiC version. Rei was Ray, which sounds the same, but different spelling, so kind of the same, kind of not. In Japanese, her name is R-E-I, and in the DiC version, it was R-A-Y-E. Kind of confusing there. Makoto was changed to Lita, and then Minako just had her name shortened to Mina. And that's really funny, because if you read the manga, the comic book series that Sailor Moon is based off of, the final issue is Parallel Sailor Moon, which is a story that takes place after they've all grown up, gotten married, and had children. And Minako's daughter is actually Mina. So I think that's kind of funny and cute. So if there's more names that were changed by DiC, I'm going to point those out as they pop up. Okay, so we've gotten that out of the way. Let's go on to the story. Sailor Moon, Justice Fighter. 14-year-old Serena, again, Usagi, is none other than the dynamic superheroine Sailor Moon. Luna is a talking cat and Sailor Moon's guardian. She gives Serena a locket that holds the power to transform her into Sailor Moon, the powerful Sailor Scout leader. Okay, another note here. In the 90s, we called them Sailor Scouts. And then towards the end of DiC's time, that was changed to Sailor Soldiers. The reason for that is because in Japanese, they're known as Sailor Senshi, which translates in English to Sailor Warriors, Sailor Soldiers, and it can, in certain spellings, mean Sailor Guardians. When you see Sailor Moon stuff today, it usually says that they're Sailor Guardians. This is because back in 2004, there was a live-action version of Sailor Moon called Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. It was crap. Don't let anybody tell you it was not. It was total crap. And around the time that the live-action show came out, they did the first of several re-releases of the manga, and they changed the title from Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon to Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, and it's just been that way ever since. So today you're going to see Sailor Guardians, but back then in America we had Sailor Scouts. All is correct, so just pick whichever version you want. I personally like Sailor Soldiers or Sailor Senshi, but it's all basically the same at this point. You just choose what you like. Okay, that's enough. Moving on. Luna helps the Sailor Scouts unleash their powers with special transformation pens. One of Sailor Moon's powerful weapons, her Crescent Moon Wand, can tame Wicked Queen Beryl's horrible monsters. Her shining golden tiara makes evil enemies disappear. Okay, so one more change here. In America, we called this the Crescent Moon Wand because, well, it's a magic wand and there's a crescent moon on it. In Japan, they called it the Moon Stick. I prefer Crescent Moon Wand. This is one of the few deke changes I actually do like, but in Japan it's the Moon Stick. You pick whichever, it's close enough in my book. Moon Prism Power! Okay, that's actually incorrect. She says that to transform, not to use her tiara. Sailor Mercury, Brilliant Fighter. Amy, again, Ami, one of Sailor Moon's classmates, is actually the powerful Sailor Mercury. When she puts on her special blue goggles, she can look into people's hearts and see the good or the evil in them. That's not actually true. She never does that in any version of the show. She usually uses the goggles in conjunction with her little mini-computer to help find the weak points in villains. But she can't actually tell if you're good or evil, just tell if you're, like, possessed or tell, like, you know, where your weak point is. She uses it for a lot of other things, too, in the show, but we're not going to get into that now. Mercury Power! Sailor Mercury temporarily blinds her enemies with a blast of mercury foam bubbles. This intelligent Sailor Scout also carries a miniature computer designed as a compact. Well, that's kind of true. She does make a fog with her bubbles. Oh, I should probably point this one out, too. In America, we called this Mercury Bubbles Blast. In Japan, this attack is known as Shabon Spray. Loosely translated, it kind of means soap bubble spray, so, you know, take that for what you will. Passionate Fighter, Sailor Mars. Ray is the dedicated Sailor Mars. Watch out, she can make streams of fireballs shoot out of her fingers by placing her hands together. This is neat because that's from the opening there. And that's actually like a screen grab from one of the episodes they kind of cut, but they put this back later on. Sailor Mars also uses a parchment scroll to defeat Queen Beryl's evil creatures. Oh, God save the Queen. Okay. This is not a parchment scroll. It's called an Ofuda scroll. Mars, or Rei, she's raised at a Shinto temple by her grandfather. She uses the Ofuda scroll along with a sacred prayer or a sacred chant, depending on which translation you're working with, in order to temporarily freeze bad guys. It's also part of her priestess powers, and it's one of the things that she can use without having to transform into Sailor Mars. You can tell about where we were in the 90s. Mars Power! Sailor Jupiter, Energetic Fighter. Athletic Lita transforms into Sailor Jupiter. The crystal in her golden tiara has an antenna that releases the electrical power and force of a thunderstorm on her enemies. Jupiter Power! Sailor Venus, Venus Power. Dynamic Fighter. Mina has been fighting evil as the popular Sailor Venus for a long time on her own. With Artemis, her cat guardian, she joins the other Sailor Scouts. Her special weapon is a powerful beam of energy in the form of 2 crescent moons. So, we're kind of right here. Just want to throw this in. Sailor Moon is actually a spin-off series of an earlier manga called Codename Sailor V. And Minako actually appears in the anime once or twice as Codename Sailor V. Different outfit, same goggles though. It's really cool. I really love it. The second half of Codename Sailor V is even cooler than the first half. In the original version, they acknowledge that she's Sailor V, but in the Deke version, they kind of called Sailor Venus and Sailor V by the same name. Little lazy, but not too terrible because V is short for Venus, so figured itself out. Sailor Scouts, Power ×5. The Sailor Scouts are a fabulous fighting team determined to defeat the evil Queen Beryl. They must keep her from getting the rainbow crystals that would allow her to destroy the planet. See, there's Codename Sailor V right there. This is actually from an episode that Deke never aired. You can watch the episode now on Hulu, but in the 90s we never got this, so this is really cool. Arms Against Evil. The Crescent Moon Wand. Sailor Moon's wand can remove all evil. It can change Queen Beryl's awful monsters back into harmless human beings. Sometimes. Not going to get into that. Luna Pen. Sailor Moon's Luna Pen is very special because she can disguise herself with it. Some episodes called this the disguise pen. Transmitter. With the transmitter that is disguised as a calculator, Luna can talk with all the Sailor Scouts. This is interesting because in the actual episodes, I think they just called it a communicator, but that's kind of cool. Romantic Interlude. Darian's Gift. Sailor Moon proudly keeps a star-shaped music box. It was dropped in the heat of battle by the mysterious Tuxedo Mask. Sailor Moon has a big crush on him. So, new name change. In the Japanese version, his name is Mamoru. In America, we called him Darian. And the funny thing is, this wasn't even Deke's original idea. They actually took that from the Toon Maker's pilot for Sailor Moon, but that is an entirely different story, and I'll gladly link you the Kotaku article that I was kind of sort of a part of. Normal teenagers? Well, that's not happening. Serena is likable, but terribly clumsy. She loves video games, but really hates homework. She likes to eat ice cream and hangs around with Molly and Melvin at school. More name changes. This is Naru. In the Deke version, we called her Molly. And this is Umino. And in the Deke version, we called him Melvin. Bright Amy loves reading and working on computers. Lita, strong and athletic, also likes to cook and read romance novels. Ray's favorite subject in school is reading, but she's more interested in Darian. That's a long and ugly story, and we're not going to go there. Don't do a double take. Mina does look a lot like Serena. She loves gymnastics and dancing, and eats a lot of pasta to get the energy to do both. Okay, this was kind of like a recurring theme. Like, they kept saying in a lot of the American books that she eats a lot of pasta. I'm having a hard time remembering episodes where she actually ate a lot of pasta. I think maybe there's only one or two. Luna and Artemis make a cute couple. This is funny because when this book came out, they weren't officially a couple yet, but they are now, so it all figured itself out. Nice spoiler. Tuxedo Mask. Man of mystery. Secretive and stylish, Tuxedo Mask always appears just in time to help the Sailor Scouts. When he goes, he leaves behind a single red rose. Sailor Moon has a crush on Tuxedo Mask. You just don't say. She doesn't realize that he's Darian, who she can't stand at all. Darian, for his part, really likes Sailor Moon. Why can't love ever be easy? Oh, you don't even know the half of it. Negaverse. Oh, boy. So, in the Japanese version, this group is known as being part of the Dark Kingdom. Because it's a dark kingdom, they don't really have a whole lot of lights. Somehow, Deke decided to name them the Negaverse. for 2 whole seasons. Like, all the villains were part of the Negaverse, which is short for negative. Okay, there's that. Dark Kingdom to me sounds a little bit cooler. Some people prefer Negaverse. You get to choose. Queen Beryl. The ruler of the Negaverse is on a mission to destroy the Earth. Kinda. With her 4 warriors, she seeks the 7 hidden rainbow crystals that together have the power to unleash the destructive Negaforce on the world. Jadeite. Zoisite. I should point out, this is still his name, just in the Japanese version they spell it with an I and an S instead of YC. Malachite. Actually, in the Japanese version, his name is Kunzite. They're all named for stones. I'm not sure why they changed the stone on this one. Nephrite. Oh boy. Nephrite actually has several different spellings. In Japan, I think it was like Nephrite. And then this book gives him Nephlite. You know, Diet Neph. And then there's another spelling I saw on a trading card that had the letter Y here. So, it was actually like PH and then there was a little Y. So there's multiple spellings that are correct for him. We're kind of close, just a little different. Sailor Scouts Forever. And that's it. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys, and, well, spoiler alert there. Well, thank you guys for checking out the first episode. Now I shall film the second one.